Alright, so this is what I traded the stalker for. It's supposed to be a 1914 Mofoco, and I know there's debates over the Mofoco heads, and I've seen, a long time ago, I've seen some 041 heads they made that the valve seats had dropped out. So, those are kind of whatever. But it has an AS41 brand new case, and I got a set of 40 Dells through the trade for the stalker and some Cadrons and some cylinder heads that I had laying around. Anyways, the problem here is it's got a slight knock. And you probably can't hear that, but when I move the crankshaft this much, you can hear it clunk. And I'm sure the camera can't pick that up. And I knew that full well when I traded. That's why I can get a better motor for a stalker. Nobody's going to trade you a bigger motor with bigger valve heads for a stock engine, unless there's something wrong with it. But I'm okay with that. What I'm hoping it is that the wrist pin is what I'm really hoping is the problem, because my friend I got this from has a set of 94 cylinders, spare 94, so if it's just a wrist pin, I could probably just swap out the cylinder. But more than likely what it is, and I'm hoping it's not, it may be the rod journal. He was out, and as you can see, as dirty as it is, we were out in the sand and the mud, and he was doing donuts, and I think it may have got a little oil starved and started knocking. But it kept driving, and the knock didn't get any worse, we kept driving it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm curious, like Curious George. I want to see if it's the piston or if it's the rod. And as you can hear the lullaby music in the background there, the rest of the family is asleep for their nap. So I am going to try and tear the head off and cylinder off and see what it is. As you can see, I haven't even got it off my little crate thing. It slides in my trailer receiver because I am curious. So I'm going to get to work on that, and then I'll show you the results. Alright, so I found the problem. Let's see if I can do this all one-handed here, try and get it on camera. I was really hoping it's a piston, but I kind of believed it wouldn't be. So let's see here. That focus in. Oh, it focuses when it does that. Okay. So that shouldn't happen. I don't know if you can tell, but the rod's moving there. That's quite a bit of play. So, and just for reference here, this motor's not too old because I don't know if you can see that or not. Of course, it's all dirty. Let me see if I can clean that up. I don't know exactly when they started, but I was looking on their Facebook. I wanted to see what brand crankshafts they use the other night in their engines. And it says Mofoco, and back there it says 1914. It's engraved into the engine. See that? There we go. Yeah, you can see the 19 on there. Well, I found out just by looking on their Facebook, they didn't start doing this, at least the Mofoco part. They weren't even adding the other numbers before like 6 years ago or so. So this motor's not incredibly old, and it looks to have mollies on it for piston and cylinders because it has the gray graphite coating. I don't believe the AAs come with that. I haven't cleaned them up to look at it, and the barrels don't say on it like the little stalker that I had that had mollies. It said molly right here on the barrel. So, but looking at the crank though, it does have a counterweighted crank. You can see back in the back behind the rod, right in there. Of course, if it would focus. No, it's not going to focus. There we go. Oh, it focuses halfway. But you can see the counterweight right where the light is shining on. And then you can see the rod is an I-beam aftermarket rod. And it has these scat bolts, or ARP, I can't tell, I think it says ARP. So that kind of makes me think that they use a scat engine kit, which would have come about when this was built with Molly pistons. They come with an upgrade. You can do the cast, or you can do the forged Mollies. Like I say, I don't know if these are Mollies or not yet. They'll say Molly on them somewhere on it. I haven't checked that out. They may be AAs. They use real retainers though, circlip retainers. That's kind of cool. I know they get a lot of crap for those right there. You know, and I heard a lot about service being slow, and you know, that's all kind of a wash, except for the heads. This will be my first set of newer ones. I haven't ever personally owned a set of Mofoco heads. I've just seen the really old stuff. I'm talking the stuff in the 90s. And what I've seen on that motor is the valve seat actually just came right out. And I know there's other people that have said that the valve guides won't hold in them. And supposedly they've redone these, I heard, you know, a few years ago, and the material may be better. I don't know. And you know, but I'll end up using these because this is what I got. Not, you know, not saying that one's better than the other. It's just that's what I have. And of course, I'll probably go in here and clean the port out. The port's it's fair, you know. It still has the guide boss in there. The port's really smooth. I was actually really amazed at how smooth that is. It's an as-cast finish. It's really smooth. It's a pretty good sized port. My flashlight can almost fit in there. It's about the same size as the paper gaskets you buy, the aftermarket ones. So it's got a pretty good size port to it. I'll probably straighten out the side here though. I think that needs a little more work on there to get it straighter, and maybe raise the roof just a little over in this corner. But you can see they've kind of done that already on it. It has more intake manifold flange, just like the CB head. You know, their big deal, they say they have more fins. These fins on the side are definitely taller. Just they need the casting flash drilled out. You can't see through there. It's all blocked up there. And this one, of course, was sitting outside, so it's got a lot of stuff sitting in a shed. So I need to clean it out. There's a little core shift where the fins go, just kind of like the 043s had the same problem, so I need to clean those out. As with any head that you buy, you can't just bolt it on. If you bolt it on, you're asking for a problem. You know, they definitely need to be always taken apart and checked out. But what I'm thinking they do, as far as their engine kits, get back on that, is I think they use a scat engine kit that looks like scat rods and a scat crank. It's probably cast. I doubt it's the forged crank. So if it is a cast crank, I'm going to look into seeing how much it costs to regrind and get the rod resize, all of them. It may just be better to buy a new crank. They're getting so cheap. But they do use a solid rocker shaft in the 1915 they got here. It has steel push rods. I don't believe these are chromoly, and they're kind of skinny. So I think they're the 5/16. I don't think they're the 3/8. I remember they used to sell a smaller push rod. I think these are the cheaper push rods, and it's definitely the cheaper shaft kit. I mean, it's not Berg, you know, or anything. It's poly empty, but it has solid shafts. That's a big plus. You know, if you're buying a 1915, you're not buying it to drive around like a stalker. You're buying it to romp on it. So that's a good upgrade. So are that's better than the aluminum push rods. I mean, you know, than stock push rods being in there. You know, those are a little heavier than chromollies, but in all reality, when I pick one up, it's not insane. It's still fairly light, but it is heavier than chromoly. Also, the way they go in looks a little different than a real chromoly. So I'm thinking it probably has a scat cam in it. It has a high volume oil pump already on it, and this thing came out of a Type 3 originally, so that's why you don't see, I think they really push the filter pumps, which work. You know, I'm not a huge fan of those as compared to full flow in it. But you know, if your budget doesn't allow it or space doesn't allow it, and you're not building a real powerful motor, you can use the filter pump. You know, it actually, that stalker I had a filter pump on it, and I think that's what made it still so nice in the bottom end. So I'm going to eventually pull the rest apart. I just wanted to see what my main problem was, and that was it right there. Is definitely a rod bearing. So and probably a contributor to that is the big huge honking oil pump, no sump, and he was doing donuts, and there's no windage tray, nothing to keep the oil down in one spot. So it probably just starved for oil, made that start getting a little hot and knocking, and of course that was the end of it. So I'll probably end up having to get another crank and probably just buy another set of rods. So that will always come to a conclusion, you know, El Cheapo 74 crank, 150 bucks, or $260 for an El Cheapo 86. We'll see. Right now I don't have the money to do either, so I'll probably just end up taking it all apart, cleaning it. We'll play with the heads a little bit. They need to be cleaned up. Like I say, this thing's been sitting for about 2 years, and go from there. Alright, so I figured I'd show you just a little bit of my mystery motor. Not so much of a mystery now. And I hope you all get back out to your garages and start making some progress on your projects. You know, if you're out there making videos, make videos, leave a comment. You know, I'd like to see what you're working on, so like, you know, leave a comment and direct me to a video of yours or something like that. You know, I stay up a little bit later at night and watch some stuff, so it'd be good to see what everybody else is out there working on. And you all have a good day. Bye.